I'm debating getting another cup of coffee, but I feel like I'm a little jittery, so maybe I'll wait. Hi guys, Mima here. Today I have a VM rush job. My company just called and they need 3 virtual machines set up kind of ASAP, by later today. So I thought it'd be fun to bring you guys along as I go through the motions. So I'm gonna turn to my screen here and let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to remote into a Hyper-V server. There we go. Let me remember my password. Cool. Okay, so it's asking for a duo push. Yay. And we're in. Okay, so I have Hyper-V Manager opened. A lot of this stuff is going to be blurred out for obvious reasons, but I'm going to set up a new virtual machine. So here's the wizard. I'm going to name it Engineer Production. So engproj. Just going to hit next. All right, here there's generation 1, generation 2. This needs just generation 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit that. I'm going to leave the default memory the same, but I am going to hit dynamic just so that if it needs to allocate more, it can expand. Here I have a Hyper-V switch, so I'll hit that. So I'm going to create a new virtual hard drive and I'll just leave the size the same. I'm sure I'll edit it later on. So let's see, next. Okay, so you have the option here. I actually have a ISO, so I'm going to hit that and find my ISO. I'll go with Business Edition, hit next. And yeah, so it just kind of summarizes everything you just did, and I'm going to hit finish. Now we can see this new virtual machine right here. Before I power it on or connect to it, I'm actually going to edit the settings. So let's check this out a little bit more in depth. Memory, I always put at 8096. Here, processors, I usually bump it to 4. And then here you can see the hard drive, the virtual hard drive I created. Here's the ISO that I mounted, and here's the switch for under a network adapter. So everything else, I'm just going to keep as default. So let me hit OK. And I'm going to connect. Here's different ways you can right-click and hit connect, or you can just go down to the button. Here is the start button, and I'm going to hit start. While this goes down, I'm going to go grab myself some coffee, so I will be back. Okay, so you can see the Windows prompt here. We're going to install English, US, and I'm going to just hit install. Okay, so here's the operating system options. I'll just go with enterprise, and instead of the top, I'm going to actually hit custom. So here, if you were re-imaging this, like if you were re-imaging for a new user, there would be partitions here that you would have to delete before you can hit next. Since this is new, we can just hit next. So my plan to make things go a little bit faster is to set up the first VM, which is this one. And then once it's set up and I do the computer configurations and set up like basic programs, I'm going to just replicate the other 2. So they all take place in the same area. Then I just have to like change the computer name and a couple other things that make it unique. And then I have all 3. So that's the plan. All right, so we're back here. We're gonna go US. Instead of putting email address, I'll just put domain join. I'll just put engineer 1. So once it's connected to the domain, they're gonna use the domain usernames, and I'm going to erase this anyway. So our first virtual machine is created. I'm going to run through just installing and setting up basic stuff, and then the replication starts. Yay. I'm going to turn it off for now. Okay, let me take a quick break, and then we'll start replicating these guys. All right, we're back. So now I'm going to do 2 replications, and we should be good to go. First things first, there's not a real way to replicate, you know, like a button that you say like, hey, like copy these two. You kind of have to like manipulate the virtual hard drive that you are trying to copy. Let me show you the settings and it'll like explain a little bit more of like what I'm talking about here. So here is the hard drive, and this is Edge prod, and this is the one I created for the first virtual machine. And if you click on it, it tells you where it's at. So it's in the X drive under virtual. Here we go, X drive, here's virtual, and you see it right there, Edge prod. So in order to kind of replicate this guy, you need to copy it, paste it, rename it, and then, you know, boot up like a new virtual machine to the copy. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to hit copy, and then right underneath it, I'm just gonna hit paste. So what it's gonna do is pretty much copy Edge prod, and it's going to make like a second, you know, it's gonna make a copy of it. And I'm gonna do it twice, and I'll rename it, and then we'll proceed. Here we go. See, look, it says Edge prod copy. I'm going to rename that guy right now to Edge UAT. This is gonna be like a user testing one. What was I doing? Oh, I'm gonna copy. We're gonna do this all over again, and then I'm gonna rename it to Edge QA. But while it's doing that, forgot to hit paste. There we go. While it copies again, I'm going to start creating the second VM. So now we have two so far. We have the Edge prod, which is the new one. We have Edge UAT. Now I'm going to rename it to Edge QA. Awesome. I'm going to make virtual machine 3. So I'm going to go up to new virtual machine and go through this wizard again. This is Edge QA. Next, generation 1. Leaving that as default, but putting dynamic. See, we're getting it, you know. Switch, and here again, this is where we change it to existing, and I'm going to grab QA. Next, summary, and finish. Yay! And go into the settings. Memory will be 8096. Processor is bumped to 4, and just making sure that's the right one. Everything else is fine. Alright, so I'm going to connect. I still have to finish these, so I'm going to wrap this up now, but you can see my local computer, and then I remoted into Hyper-V server, and I created all 3 of these. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick virtual machine creation and replication video. I'm working on getting a better like mic and webcam because I enjoy doing these like quick screen recording tasks, and I want to continue doing it just with better, you know, technology. I still have some work to do, so I will let you guys go, but have a great rest of the week and stay safe, guys. I'll see you next time.